Okay, welcome to Courtship and Marriage. Today I'm here with a very special guest, as you can already see. Yes, her name is Mirabel, and right now she's the current expert on long distance relationships. I
God,
call her Mirabel. So, Mirabel, you're very welcome, right, to
thank
this
you.
courtship and marriage. Like, I'm so glad to have you here because, like I said, you are the current expert. I know that many people would have talked about long distance relationship in the past. Even I have talked about long distance relationship in the past. But for you, it's a current experience, I suppose, and you are a current authority because you just wrote a book on it. So first of all,
Yay.
congratulations on
Thank
your
you.
new book. Like, I know that that's a huge milestone. So before I even get to asking you questions, just share with us the experience of writing a book. Like, how was it for you?
You know this. You know this.
I hear from the horse's mouth.
Anyways, I know it took me about 2 years.
Wow.
Yeah, it took me about, even though I already had like a journal from over the years, just putting things together. When I was writing those journals, I didn't have any idea that I was going to write a book later in the future. I just love to journal and look back at the past and like, oh my God, I've grown, I've gotten better. And this was what happened when I was in this, situation. This was how I got by. Just as a reference point, that was why I had the journal. But later in the future, when the whole long distance thing started to wind down, I was like, do you know that people actually have a lot of issues? During my long distance, I had to be encouraging other long distance people to that you will be fine, we're in this together.
Right.
And I was like, you know what, I'm going to write a book. And I eventually gathered my thought together. It was not funny. And I think what really helped me was that I just reached out to a publisher who is my friend. I was like, see, she's a book midwife. She calls herself book midwife. So she helps you through the process of birthing your book and all. So I reached out to her. She was like, you know what, you have to pay, you have to do this, you have to stick to time, da da da. So I think that really helped me deliver on time. Even there was a time I was like, see, I'm tired.
Right.
And the thing is that life doesn't stop.
Mm-hmm.
Life doesn't stop. I was traveling from one place to another. I was traveling for work, traveling for this, and I still had to deliver.
Right.
So I think it took a while, but eventually we got there, and I'm happy at the eventual outcome of the book.
Right. Congratulations. Like, I can tell you congratulations from the bottom of my heart. Like,
How
I'm,
was it for you?
oh my God. Well, this particular book, because I've always been a writer since I was a kid. Like, I like to write stories, I like to journal, and also. So, but this particular book, I got the idea for it in January last year. And I think I just wrote like a short draft. So I wrote a short draft of maybe like 20 something pages, really very matter of fact, straight to the point is what I want to tell you. So I shared it with a friend. She was like, she liked it. It was succinct, filled with scriptures. And I just stopped because, like you said, life, like, life, like I have other aspects of my life really that I have to focus on. So I kept doing all that. And then in October, I got another idea to like host a prayer event for singles because my book is for singles. So I hosted the prayer event, and the prayers that I compiled, we only went through like 5 of it because of time. So I'm like, all these other 15 prayers, what's gonna happen? So I said, okay, let me compile it into a book for them. So I started to do that. And then I realized that, oh, this prayer book is just like the book I started writing in January. Why not merge it together, make it a compilation of prayer and the other stuff, advice and counsel I was giving? So I made it together. I'm like, okay, let's could do this then. Since we're making it a book, let's make it a book. So, but the whole process of like finalizing the book, I think from that October to like by December, I was pretty much done. Like I was pretty much done by December. But then publishing it on Amazon, oh my God, that was a story for another day because man, all the things that you're not familiar with before, all the things about. But I'm like, okay, so I've been reading a book. I didn't know this was a gutter. So this is the gutter. So I didn't do the gutter. Well, okay, let me go and read it.
Exactly.
Like so. Then the cover, oh my god, my cover designer, we would have fought, not that I'm his wife's friend. Because like I gave him help. Not really help, but he kept having to redo. The cover for the paperback is different from the Kindle. Like the specifications, like oh my god, like but let's not go into all that. It's a long story. But
That's another story for another day.
right. Congratulations on your book on long distance relationships. So can you tell me what motivated you to write the book? Really, what's the motivating force? What kept you going all through the hard times of writing the book? Like, I'm going to finish this book.
So there's a, should I call it a mindset that I have,
Mm-hmm.
that, when I go through things, it's not just for me, it's also for other people. Like I always have the mindset of just helping people with the little that I have. Do you get? And I do not want my experience to waste. And then I felt God was like, you should actually write this book and help other people and all. And I don't know if you follow Pastor Nathaniel. Is a stickler for kingdom marriage and all of that. So I think I've always bought into that since I was a teenager, that our kingdom marriage still exists, good marriages exist. I love when marriages thrive. I'm a marriage person, relationship person, family person. Like I just love it. I believe family is powerful, the foundation of every human being. Because when I think of Hitler, I'm like, Hitler was from a family. What went wrong?
Mm-hmm.
What could they have done better? So I think I'm just like that. And I'm like, nowadays, the old jackpot thing is, sorry, this is an international
Yes.
audience, right? So jackpot means like exodus of people leaving their countries, emigrating from one country to the other,
Right.
and leaving their loved one behind. So, and I'm like, what if I didn't survive this long distance relationship? What would have happened? Like, would I have missed out on a good marriage?
Right.
And I can imagine other people that are also in this kind of situation. Do you understand? So I'm like, so I can imagine, other people that are also going through this long distance relationship, and they do not have any strength to keep holding on, and they're just giving up on each other. So I'm like, that would not be nice. If I have a potential solution to help 1, 2, 3, 5, 10, who knows?
One
Let me
thousand,
just do this.
one million.
1,000, one
One,
million. Do you understand? Like, okay, I choose not to be selfish. It is not a comfortable process, but I'll go through it. And I think I'm a very straightforward person. Like, I'm very straight to the point. I don't like when I read a book and it's just dragging. If you actually see my book, it's very, let me show you, it's very short.
easy
Like
to read in one sitting.
in one sitting. And I'm like, it's like a guide that I can always flip through. Oh, what am I going through right now? Oh, she said something about it. So I
Right.
think that was just it. I was going to do something straight to the point. I don't want to waste your time. I just want you
Right.
to get the solution that you need and move on.
Right.
So basically, that was the motivation behind the book.
Right, right. Well, thank you for sharing that. Like, there's something I want to ask you about what you just shared, and that's the whole idea of Japa, really, how it is affecting relationships and marriages today. Because that's something that really concerns me as a person, something that really bothers me. Like, I experienced a long distance relationship when we were in courtship because I schooled in Lagos, he schooled in Abuja. So my long distance relationship spanned for about like 5 years thereabouts. So it was hectic, it was stressful, it was everything. But I still cannot compare it with a long distance marriage. I feel like the dynamics of that, my god, is much more different and much more intense. Like, for me, if I could advise somebody, I wouldn't want them to even be in a long distance marriage in the
I
first.
wrote it. I had best case scenario.
I'll be
Do
like,
not.
I can understand long distance relationship when you're not yet married, but marriage, long distance, number one, I don't think it's ideal. I don't think it was God's plan for you to be separated because He wants you to be one fully.
Exactly.
Albeit situations, circumstances in life, career, economic situations, many things. But then again, the distance or the length of the time you will be in long distance should be very calculated and strategic to ensure that it's not going to be a marathon. It should be a sprint. Ready, set, go. These are
Exactly.
right? And we are done with the distance, not a marathon of we are still going, we are still going, we are still going. What's going to happen? Like, so I wanted to ask you about that. Like, what is your opinion, first of all, on long distance marriages?
Hmm. Like you said, and like I mentioned in my book, I'm like, disclaimer. I wrote a disclaimer. Long distance is not ideal, and if it can be avoided, please avoid it. And like you mentioned, maybe being in a court, because I was in a courtship for 3 years, long distance courtship. Maybe being that might not be bad, but by the time it transitions into marriage, and with everything that gets involved in it, it is not ideal. So honestly, I know when I after I got here, I had to move to New York for work, and it was here. I was in New York, after we got married and all. What I did was we had plans for, okay, we shouldn't be apart for more than 2 months in a row. Even though 2 months was still a stretch, but work, they don't want you to leave. They just want you to be there. Like when you work, when you like, do you understand? Like at least the kind of job that I had to tell them, I'm leaving, I'm going for the weekend, I'll be back next week. I do not care how you sort it out, I am leaving. Especially when, because work comes with a lot of mental stress, from anyway, my work was a bit stressful. And that was part of the reason, like, you know what, I'm done here, I'm going back. So there was no balance emotionally. I found myself getting drained a lot, getting tired. And I know that part of it is because, you know, cuddling has some miracle to it, and being with someone that cares about you and is not there to use you. Because
Mm,
let's say if every other person just wants to use you at work, and you're like, okay, seeing that person constantly and knowing that, okay, you love me genuinely, you're not here to use me, do you understand? And hugging and cuddling, imagine going for months without hugging anyone. It is not ideal. So I'm
right,
like, you know what, I don't care how you guys find a replacement for me in these 2 3 days, but I'm out. So that was it. It was expensive because of flight ticket, but your marriage is more important. Money can always be made back. You can always make money back, but your marriage is more important. I didn't see it as a lot of burden. So I buy my ticket, I'm gone for the weekend,
mm,
2 3 days. And then when I'm back, I'm refreshed. He as well, even though he's busy with school, busy with work, he put all that on hold, buys the next available ticket to New York. Do you understand? So I think that was part of the things that we did that helped, the long distance marriage. Don't be apart for too long. Like you
right,
said, it should be a sprint, have a plan in mind and stick to the plan. Stick
right.
to the plan. Because I'm like, you know what? Something just came up that I have to pay for. Can we move? Don't move. There was a time we exceeded the 2 months and we were fighting. Do you understand? Like we're like fighting. I'm like, what's happening to us? Why are we fighting like this? And we realized that, oh my God, we've not seen for more than 2 months. And he even went to Nigeria at the point. So I was like, you know what? I'm getting the next available flight. And I didn't go to Nigeria, obviously. He was coming back, and then I just joined him in Minnesota. So yeah, that's part of the ways you can deal with long distance marriage.
Mirabel, you've dropped a lot of nuggets already. Number one, have a plan and stick with the plan.
Which is
Part is that part, stick with the plan, because I remember when we were dating, then my husband and it was in Abuja. Like, okay, obviously a semester is 3 months, right? So I expect that when your semester ends, you're gonna come home for holiday, right? But sometimes, as a young boy hustler, now you'll be like, there's some tutorials that if I teach them, I will make.
oh my God.
I mean, when he makes that money, of course he's going to spend a large part of it on me. And I like money, but much more than money, I like time. So every time you cancel on me like that, it used to break my heart. And I think that, to be sincere, even though I can never shift the blame of the emotional affair that I had, I think that it was partly because of that, because I felt alone. Like we couldn't connect, because when you do that, it hurts me. I don't want to talk to you like that, like that. I'll just be cold on the phone because I feel emotionally starved. Like, you're not giving me what I need. I need you to be here, like, not making more money.
Am I not more important than the money?
Right. So
Exactly.
that is a, like, if you make a plan, stick to the plan. Don't cancel your
Mm-mm,
partner something else. Don't cancel.
mm-mm.
And I think that that just sort of brings me back to what I was thinking about yesterday. Yesterday I was recording, making some video clips of some stuff, and I said, I found myself saying that, oh, your marriage is more important than your career. And I stopped myself. I'm like, well, why are you saying this? First, let's think about it, really. Let's think, is your marriage more important than your career? And if it is, like, where's the scriptural backing, number one? Because I like to question myself a lot to find out how I've been conditioned. Am I
Exactly.
saying this because I've heard people say it, or where did I actually find it? In the Word of God. So while I've been unable to reflect on where I found it, I'll be honest for my process. I'm still trying to find out those scriptures that makes me believe that my marriage is more important. Yeah, because God made man. Come to think of it, God made work for Adam before He gave him marriage, right? It was
Yes.
Eve that just came and she was a married woman. So maybe that's why women, all of us, we just come, we want to marry, right? So, but did God ever imply that work, marriage was more important than work, or work was more important than marriage? I don't think He ever made
A
that
comparison, yeah.
yeah, comparison. So in reflecting, I found myself telling myself, when we say your marriage is a priority, for me, I'm not saying that it's more important than your career, so to say. I'm just saying prioritize it the way you prioritize your career. If you won't cancel your career for something, don't cancel your marriage for something.
Exactly.
When we say your marriage is a priority, we're not saying, oh, because of that, don't go to work. Just sit down and be loving on your spouse. Like, you people will starve. Right?
Exactly.
Right? But
Exactly.
if you have made plans with your spouse, if you have said, okay, this is how we're going to invest in our relationship because this relationship is also important to me,
Mhm.
I'm going to invest in it, then don't cancel. Don't cancel your spouse for something else. Because whatever you are canceling your spouse for, that thing is then taking precedence over
Yes.
relationship.
Finding the balance is very important because at times we also as women will be like, can't you leave your job? Can't you not go to work today? Can't you just stay with me? Da, da, da. And not knowing that part of what is keeping that man sane is his work.
Right.
So you want to say you are also going to suffer for it. But at the same time, if the marriage front is also shaky, your career would also, you won't be able to give your best. So finding that balance
Yes, it's a
is very
balance.
important. Mm-hmm.
Yes, yes. Well, I love all these our intro conversations. So the first is, how can one effectively utilize the little time you both have despite facing work-related fatigue? And I think you are very good at answering because you already know work-related fatigue. So how can you effectively utilize the little time you both have despite facing work-related fatigue?
I think one way to effectively use your time is try not to get into arguments, unnecessary arguments, honestly, because
Memories.
what did you say?
You're bringing back memories.
Try not to get into the little time you have. Try not to get into argument because it just stresses them the more. Like I wrote in my book, this person, you really don't know what they are going through. Do you understand? You really don't know what they're going through. And when they come to you, they just want to relax and be taken care of. They just want to, get emotionally, shall I say, emotionally buffed up, just what
Replenish.
has been depleted. Exactly. They want to replenish it because they want to be with someone that, oh, this person cares about me. I just want to be with you. I just want to have a beautiful talk, beautiful time, beautiful experience. Don't come and argue. I know that it's not easy because sometimes, especially when you feel like this person is paying too much attention to other things and ignoring me. So the little time they have with you, you just want to ash it out like, what do you think? What do you mean? But at a point, I know that I was like that. At the point, I had to calm myself down. Like, babes, think. You too, think. This person is stressed.
You too, you are stressed.
You are stressed. But like, how do we now deal with the stress like this?
Right.
What I did was when I knew that this person was annoying me. So before we have that time, what I used to do instead of bamboozle him, the way we are, we'll finish you with our mouths. And you're like, this person is not your enemy. This person is your friend. Do you understand? Why are you acting as if this person is your enemy? So what I used to do in order to like calm down, calm my emotions down, decompress, I just write down everything. Or I will complain to God in my journal. I'm like, see the man you gave me.
And God did not get, God will say it to right back to Adam and Eve.
Exactly. I'm like, God, see the man you gave me. So I would banter and everything, put everything down. Sometimes I'll say it, sometimes I'll write it down. If I want to cry, I'll cry it. Calm down, relax. And I realized that even when you know, talk to the person Ashley, it doesn't actually really solve the problem. It just kind of makes it more complicated. So why don't you just calm down, personally yourself, calm down, get yourself together. And then when you even want to talk about it, it won't be such a big deal anymore because you are now in a better place. So the best time to use your time is don't fight. Just be there to encourage them, just talk about life, talk about what is going on, send pictures, do video calls. Do you understand? Do video calls, dance for him if you have to. Do you understand? Just have fun, play games together, watch movies together, anything beautiful.
Right.
Basically that.
I like that. Don't fight. That one is a major because I remember when we were dating too, and he eventually came after he has cancelled on me like 2 times, and then eventually came up the first day. I'm gonna fight him virtually or try. I don't even want to spend like only have how many days to spend at home. Is this what we're going to do? All
As
true.
in, it's
Then
not worth it.
I'll reconsider. I'll have to, I don't know, readjust my brain. Let me put it that way. To like, okay, I don't want to fight in this little time. I want to be happy.
We want to be happy. Let's go out for a movie. Let's be in each other's company, even though we should not do things we're not supposed to do when we're cutting.
Oh, oh, chapter. Oh,
But
1 hour recording.
okay.
So definitely have fun. Look for ways to enjoy each other, to explore new things you've not
Mhm.
together before, to make it memorable.
Exactly. Make it memorable. Take pictures. Take a lot of pictures.
Lots of pictures.
Oh Jesus. When he was so then it comes like maybe once a year.
Hmm.
During the list, it just comes like once a year when you eventually get a break. I take videos, pictures. People don't even understand why I'm very addicted to pictures. And also I'm a photographer. So I just take pictures, honestly, and videos so that when I'm sad or lonely, I just go back to those things. Pictures and videos helps me a lot. So
Yes.
yeah.
Solid advice. Solid advice. So the second question is navigating a relationship with a partner on a different continent, especially when her primary love language is physical touch, poses unique challenges. How do you suggest we overcome these obstacles?
Again, let's agree that most men, if not all the men, their love language is physical touch. Kamakuro.
But now he's saying that he's saying that her love language is physical touch.
Oh, is a guy that is asking a question.
Yes.
Amazing. So, I don't know if you've heard the recent updates about this love language.
What's the recent update?
You've not heard.
I'm not sure.
You've not heard. They say it's a scam.
What is scam? Wow, what
They
is
say it's a scam. Oh. Honestly, that's what I'm hearing. But let me be serious. My husband's love language is physical touch, and you understand. But what I realize is everyone has a fraction of each love language, whether we like it or not. Everyone has a fraction of it. Mine was gifts. So I realized that his was not just physical touch, it was also quality time. Do you understand? It was also quality time. At that point, you cannot do physical touch. You understand? How do you want to do it? Transcendence things. How do you want to do it? So what we did was we had to capitalize on other love languages.
Right.
So we emphasized on, so for him, he loves quality time. So what we do is maybe during weekends, we just do video. Data that year. Ha! Or our data. I bought data. We spend long hours on the call, like sometimes throughout the whole day. The phone is just on, like, do you understand, just on video call. Even when I'm going out, I think some Saturdays I just try not to go anywhere, so we're just indoors talking. Sometimes you just leave the phone there and just know that he's there, I'm here, we're just doing our things, maybe cooking, or do you understand. And sometimes we even do like sleepover calls. So you actually like emphasize the other love languages that they have and just capitalize on that and explore it. So I think that actually really helped, because how do you want to do physical touch?
Right. And even when you eventually see each other and their love language is physical touch and you are still dating, what is the dynamic of that? Because my own love language is not even physical touch like that, like that. And I know that when I eventually see my boyfriend, all my senses used to require correction. Like, oh, no, you are a Christian. You are a spirit-filled believer. You will not do this.
You will not do this. It is not up for question. It's not
No,
for you.
no debate about this.
It is
So
not for you.
imagine if their love language is not physical touch and you've not seen each other in a year and you're just seeing each other. Like, how do you even navigate that?
Honestly, just, I don't know. Just make sure other people are in the room with you people. Because
Right.
how
Do
do you
it.
want to do it? But it's painful. Let's be real. You just want to be with this person alone. You don't want other, because let's be realistic. You've not seen this person for long. Like, only me and you. We have a lot to catch up on. We have a lot to. So how do you now deal with physical touch like this? I
Right.
think having that agreement from the start, that
This
even
is
at that, even at that, you'd be like, oh, the flesh, the flesh is screaming right now.
this said, like for me, I think we met in private in public. Let me put it that way. So we tried to have like privacy in public.
Hmm.
So say we're in when I go to visit him, his mom has a shop right outside their house. So we're in the shop. We're alone, but we're in the shop outside. So we're in private in public.
In public, that makes sense.
There's a
That makes
nobody can eavesdrop on our conversation, but there's a limit to how physical we can get in our shop outside.
it will not bother, oh, touch hands, maybe key or pecs,
Even this, I was not comfortable. Mirabel, I grew up in Nigeria. I was not comfortable like that. Here and now, I know that.
PDA. Even here, my PDA is still very restricted.
Right, because we are
Honestly.
not raised like that to be
Mhm.
showing physical affection in public. We don't do
We don't do such.
right. So like I think that really helps. But like you have rightly said, explore other love languages because just what you said exactly, the writer of that book, Dr. Gary Chapman, I think I connected to a webinar that it was on a few weeks back, like 3 weeks ago, and that was one of the first things he said as well, that one person doesn't have just one love language. They usually have all the others in some
In
measures.
some measures, yes.
So capitalize on those other ones to meet their needs and know that your whole future is still waiting to explore all the physical
Honestly,
explorable.
that was usually what I say. Like, see, you still have forever to
You
explore
do.
this person. Don't be in a rush.
You do.
Don't be in a hurry. It's not that deep.
Yesterday I was going through my old journals and I found one. In fact, I cannot read it in public. I found one, I found one that I wrote. I'm like, oh god. Now we've been there, done that, we've explored all of that. Like I'm like, I just like close the book. You try.
Honestly, like, I think that's one. But when you tell people, they really don't get it. Like, it's not that deep. Sex is something that, trust me, They will even be begging you. Be like, I beg, I just want to sleep. They'll be begging you to. I'm like, it's not worth it. It's not worth it because it's not. It's not like it's not worth it in a bad way, but it's not worth it to just give up like that
Right.
in outside of marriage because
Yeah.
why
Yes.
tired.
Yes. All right. So our third question is, what activities or games have proven to strengthen the bond between you and your partner in a long distance relationship?
Mm, okay. So for us, like I said, a lot of sleepover calls. So the games then, I don't know, we didn't have this. Is this solitaire game or all these games that you can, you know, we didn't have that. It was after I got here, I was like, oh my god, this is fun. This is nice. We could have
I
been doing this.
have no idea what you're talking about.
Is this game on iMessage?
Hmm.
Yeah, there's this game on iMessage that you can just when I'm done and then I'll pass it to you and
Mirabel, I don't play games. I'm a man of one mind.
I don't play games too. Honestly, I actually don't play games. So that when you mention games, I'm like, am I the person to talk about games?
All right.
When we got here, I think somebody was trying to play with my husband. He was like, oh, so this game exists. He was like, well, let me play with my wife. That kind of thing. I'm like, and then that was just for a day. It wasn't. She was like, maybe how many minutes. We're not games people, to be
Right.
honest. But I know that one thing that really helped was we started reading books together and then
Hmm.
discussed it. So there was this particular book that I on. It was rich.
Okay, was it finance book?
It was a finance book, but it was not just restricted to finance. It was actually a very amazing book that covers mindset and
Hmm.
think rich. Jesus, this is annoying.
Is it by Napoleon Hill?
Yes.
I know the book. I'm trying to remember the title now. Don't worry, just move on.
Anyways, so we were reading chapters by chapters and we're discussing it like when we're free. So it kind of like mentally stimulated us and we're like, oh my god, this is the perspective you see. Oh, I also have this perspective. So it just kind of
Hmm.
means that you can connect not just on sexual level or physical level, but even mental level, emotional
Right.
level. And you get you guys even closer and amazed at each other that oh my god, I love your perspective. Da, 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 da. So I think it's that really helped reading books together and then discussing it after. Also praying together.
Mm-hmm.
Prayer has a way of bonding people. I don't know, it just has a way of bonding people. It's amazing. So we constantly did that. We
Mm-hmm.
try to do that every day. So yeah, and then some scriptures that we had, we just that didn't go for long because I know we started Bible plan, but busy, 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 busy. But we always ensure that we prayed together, and then the book also stimulated our minds. I mentioned something earlier, sleepover calls, you
I have
know,
how that sleepover calls goes because like I'm actually sleeping, right? Because I would have slept off.
the sleepover calls.
Mm-hmm.
Have you tried it before?
No, I mean I do extra cool then and I used to sleep off. Literally sleepover call.
Sleepover call is actually we didn't even know that was what it was called, but we were just doing this. We're like, you know what, let's just leave this phone running till the next morning. So we sleep over the call. We'll be talking, 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 and they were like, "Oh, I want to sleep." So instead of cutting the call, we just leave it running, and then sleep over till the next morning. And you're like, "Oh, are you awake?" We usually do it on Fridays because of time zone. Time it was like 7 hours, 6 hours difference. So he wasn't going to work, he wasn't going to school. So that usually worked for us. So just a sleepover calls into the next day, and then it's usually really refreshing for some weird reasons. Yeah, because as if the person is there with you. Yeah, because you can hear the person snoring, they can hear
Ah,
you snoring. Yes, because it's beside them.
ah. I wanted to say maybe next time my husband travel, but I don't want to say because I don't even want him to travel. Like I'm not good with distance.
Oh my god. Do
Travel
you know
for
funny enough, some people like distance.
I don't. I don't. I've always told him from the beginning. I want a man that goes to work in the morning and comes back in the evening. That's what I'm not. for tomorrow. My dad was a traveler. My dad was a custom officer. So I grew up in a house where my dad is not always around. He goes for months, then he comes back for a week, then he goes for months. So I've experienced that life. And
No wonder you just said, mm-mm.
I already know I don't want to. Just go with the money, come back. That's what
Honestly,
I
that is really nice. Even though we are like together, sometimes it just says, oh, he has to go to Nigeria or another country for like a project for like a week, 2 weeks. So I'm like, okay, I'll be fine. Do you understand? So yeah, we wing it 2 weeks. We've done 3 years before. Where's 2 weeks?
Hi.
So it just kind of helps, yeah. Yeah, but sleepover calls, those things help.
Right. I love the
And
one you said about connecting on other levels because it made me think, look, the physical part is just one part of your relationship that you're not able to see each other. There's the spiritual connection you can make, there's the emotional, there's the mental, and all of that
yes,
without necessarily being in the same room physically with the person. So like explore all of that and it will actually make you a stronger couple for it.
exactly.
A couple
Exactly.
because connecting with somebody else's ideologies perspective through books, those are things that other people that have lived together for years don't even experience because they are too busy being physical, one.
Exactly. They don't explore other things. I
Yeah. And even when they are married, like they are too busy having arguments over dishes, laundry, kids, all of those other things that now they can't really connect like that. But you have
exactly.
the privilege of connecting on those other level without the should I say distractions of other things that you'll be fighting about if you were physically in person. So, connect on those other levels. Like
Now I remember the book. Think and Grow Rich.
think
Napoleon Hill.
of
Yeah.
that book. I never finished it. I always started but never finished it because that book feels like I don't know, it's too deep. Like it's condensed with deep facts. So like it's not like space that where you can just be coasting. You have to be paying attention to everything. So like it's
Yes.
hard for me to finish it.
Yes. It's intense. That book is intense.
Right, that's the word for it, intense. I think that's a book you definitely have to read with someone to be
Mhm.
finish it.
Exactly. And you
Wow.
also want to know this person's perspective on life, on money,
Yeah.
on. So I think that's another way of also getting to know who you are getting married to.
Yeah.
You want to know how they think. It's not
Yeah.
gonna say something and be like,
Is that what you really think? But to be
should I
sincere,
run?
there are those that one is important before marriage. But even after marriage, there's some things your partner will still think something else, and you'll be like,
It's true. You're right. And you cannot run anywhere again.
there's nowhere
You
to
cannot
run.
run. You have to stay there. We've thrown away the key.
Is that what you really think?
Ah,
This is what
yeah.
you think.
But at least you want to be, there's some level you want to be on a safe side that okay, this is how
Right.
this person think. Even if he wants to think far left, it's still within a
Yes.
particular,
Yes.
jurisdiction.
Yes. And you can explore all that even if you're not physically together. So
I think we also need to talk about maybe you and somebody else. I don't know. We need to talk about dealing with change in marriage.
oh. Hmm.
That is
Hmm.
dealing with change in marriage because I think that's one of the reasons why people avoid getting married. They're like, oh, people change, people
People
change.
do change. People do change. But I found from my own experience, they change, but it's not like they go completely in the opposite
In the
direction.
opposite direction, exactly. And then you also have to grow with them. They have to grow with you as they change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think one example that I give about that is my husband's sudden love for gymming. Like when we were dating all through our
That's
courtship,
a good
I saw him as
change.
an exercise junkie. Like he was just a normal guy. But now my husband will be going to gym, going to gym, going to gym. I'm like, what is it with this gym? I'm the one that did physical therapy. I'm not this crazy about gym far.
That's nice. That's a good change.
Right, it's a good change, but it was jarring for me at the point because, like, one, we it works a lot. We have such little time to spend together. Now you want to go spend an hour and a half with the gym? Like, come on, really? Where's the time
Oh,
you want to spend
I
with me?
feel you. I feel
And
you.
my love language is quality time. Let me just put it out there. Like, obviously, would have known that from our courtship history.
Yeah.
And so it it was, but eventually, I think the Holy Spirit was the one that regulated, because it was really disturbing. It calmed me down and made me see it from a different perspective. And I think eventually I was able to grow with that. I started to exercise too. Me that I didn't used to exercise like that before.
Exactly. So you have to grow with them. They have
Yeah,
to grow with
like
you.
if you don't grow together, you will grow apart. So change is constant. It's not like, oh, it's gonna change to be a completely opposite person than who you married. That if that happens, I might say that that is like demonic or something. Like there's something else involved
That
in
is scary. Yeah.
that. But people evolve. That's the kind of change I want to talk about. People evolve. They think about, oh, I always wanted to do this. I never got the chance. Now I have the chance. I want to explore it. So
Mm-hmm.
it's not like, oh, it's completely different, but it's something I always had in me, but you just didn't see it yet.
Even them, they probably also didn't know it yet.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So like, for example, my husband one day, like a few years back, we're talking and I told him that, what if all I want to be is a writer? And he said, all. I burst into laughter.
I like that.
All.
Like all right. There's so many aspects of you. Yeah.
But you just didn't know this about me. But when I was younger, that was all I wanted to be, really, was a writer.
Wow.
Like I always wanted to be a writer. I didn't know much about any other thing I wanted to be, but I knew I loved to write. So I know that at some point in my life, eventually, maybe 30 years, 40 years, I'm going to go back to writing as my all, really. So, and I want you to be prepared for that.
Exactly. Let them know in advance.
Explore other career and all of that. But eventually, what I see myself doing in my old age, I just want to write more and connect with people.
Nice.
Right. So people evolve. That's a given, and you know,
Yeah.
just grow together. But I think that's a major topic to talk about, really. But we've
Yeah.
done justice to this long distance for now with the questions that we have. So
Yeah.
please, if we have other questions, I would definitely bring you back on. But
No.
before we leave, I want you to share one like key thing from your book that you would want somebody in a long distance relationship or marriage to take away. Because I know that everybody that writes a book, there's usually one chapter, one particular one that stands out the most. All of them are important. But if I was to tell you one thing about my book, it would be this.
I think the easiest answer is to say God. But it also kind of sounds like a lazy answer. But I'll say God. Let God be at the center of it all. Another thing I would like to say is vulnerability. Be vulnerable. Be vulnerable. Because sometimes we try to, even though you're in courtship with this person, you still want to prove hard to get. Like, I'm not cheap. I'm still going to work for this. And it's not bad. So because that means that sometimes when we really feel like talking to this person, we'll still be forming ad guy, but be vulnerable to say that I miss you, I miss hugging you, I miss the time that we were together. Just be vulnerable with this person. And I shared a story of a comedian that was in a long distance relationship, and he went to greet his girlfriend or his fiance at the time in the UK. And like you mentioned, that all your body will just be all your hormones. So when he saw her, I was like, hey, Jesus. And they already had a prior agreement that no sex before marriage, blah blah blah. And he didn't know what to do. He was just looking at her like this. And then eventually calmed down and said exactly how I was feeling at the time. See, right now, I just want to. I just want to. Do you understand? So it was vulnerable enough to open up to her that this is how I feel right now. And she just laughed it off, and they both started laughing. Do you understand? And what if he kept holding that and then eventually just pounce on her to
Ah,
scatter the whole,
okay, my pounds you.
to scatter the whole thing? But be vulnerable. Tell people how you feel. You understand? Not always angry, angry, angry all the time. Just tell her, oh, I love you. Oh, I really care about you. Oh, you look beautiful today. Stop hiding compliments from your partner. Tell them. If you don't tell them, other people will tell them. Do you understand? Be vulnerable enough to open up to them when you are weak, when you are strong, when you're not in your best, your best self, be vulnerable to open up to them. And that's why they are there. They're there to help you, to hold you up when you are down, and to share your beautiful moments with them. So be vulnerable.
Yeah, that's a very important one, especially because this person can't see you. They can't really read your whole body language. So you have to be a better communicator with your words.
Exactly.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Vulnerable. But with caution, no. That type of thing that you went to go and talk, if they're alone and the girl too is feeling that way, that would casala will bust too. So
But the fact that he said it, I feel like saying things kind of exposes the secrets of it. Like,
right. It might ease your own tension, not bottling it up, but it might also transfer it to the other person.
but like maybe that was how you could decompress at the point. Like it was hitting him up, and you're like, this is how I feel right now, sister.
Yes.
Should we go out of this space? Do you
Yeah.
know, help me? It's like a cry for help, that
if
kind
it,
of thing.
yeah, if it's in that situation where you know that the other person can handle it and say, okay, let's move away, let's do this, let's
Yeah,
fight this way, right? Let's find an alternative. Yes.
yeah.
I'm just trying to be on the safe side because I was in a long distance courtship, and I know that when you say things like that, sometimes if it tells me that yes, at that point in time, maybe I've soaked up on a lot of sanctification scriptures, like nothing can shake me at that time. But there are those other times when I've been busy watching rom-com.
And
So
it just
I'm not in the
comes.
space.
Oh no, I know.
I'm not in the mental space to help anybody, let alone help myself. Like so, so we caution too, but I definitely agree with you that you are already in a distance, so be vulnerable. Use your words well to communicate how you're feeling. Don't let that person be guessing or be thinking maybe she likes me, maybe he likes me. Let them know.
Yes, let them know, because they have options in their faces all the time.
Right.
They have options. Honestly, you even see people try to hook them up with other people. Like,
Right.
there's this person that I know, but you're like, they want to know if you really love them. Even
Yeah.
though they know, just articulate it, just tell them. So
Yeah.
yeah, be
Oh,
vulnerable enough. Stop proving ad gay, ad guy
yes. All the time.
all
All the
the time.
Make sure that you are communicating your love. I remember then too in school, like even in days when he didn't have credit, I didn't have credit, he would send text me I love you, call me I love you. He knows I won't be able to call, but he just wanted to let me know that hey, you're on my mind, even though I can't.
Yes, yes, it's so
So
beautiful.
all
Yeah.
of that a long way. Definitely. Thank you so much, Mirabel. I really enjoyed this
Thank
conversation.
you for the opportunity. I enjoyed it too.
Pause your book again. I'm gonna leave the link to Mirabel's book in my description. So if you're in a long distance relationship, like she said, it's a very succinct, direct to the point book that can help you. Like, oh, this is where I'm at. This is what I can do about it. So I think that would really really help. So get it on Amazon, get it on Seller, and make sure that you have the help you need to get through this season. Because like you said at the beginning, don't let distance be the thing that will rob you of a great marriage. You may be with a great person, right? You just need guidance on how to navigate the distance. So please, get resources from her, people like her that have experienced that, have gone through it, so that you won't miss out. Because like they say, "Oh, come on, they
What?
say, "Oh, come on, is that what
That is funny.
they so don't miss
As in,
it
honestly,
just because of distance. Learn how to
you
navigate.
can get through it. Yes, you can
Yes.
get through it. Don't
Thank
give up.
you
Don't
both,
give up.
Mirabel. Thank you. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you. My regards to family.
Yes, and to yours too. All right. Bye.